we're working towards those things. But engaging patients and getting them involved in this has been an incredible pleasure. I have to say, watching patients respond to a new way of managing them, and guess what? They are coming in. I'm talking to them at their desk at work. I'm talking to people who are out on a walk. I'm talking to people that, we're meeting the patient where they want to be met. And not everybody wants this, but this is certainly a way to do that. So I think I'm going to open it up to questions.
Once your slide where you had the new patient, I like that because that patient joined at birth because you were so perfect.
You can blame Rebecca for the slides.
My question is, will you ever graduate patients from this program? I mean, once you have this intensive period of time where you really iterate getting them under control, and then
so remember, this is a study, right? It's a 6-month trial using home blood pressure monitoring with the ability for them to continue an additional 6 months. And so far, everyone has said that they want to continue it. The hardest thing we've had is when patients reach certain goals, so let's say they've been under control for a month. We put them into a confirmatory, I can't remember the names of these things, but a confirmatory state, where we then only ask them to take their blood pressure once a day. And then, if the blood pressure averages stay under control, we ask them to do it twice a week. They don't like that. They want to do it every day. It's very interesting. They'll say, why did it stop doing that? Even though we sent them a message telling them that was going to happen. They want to come back. The other thing we need to do is figure out how to get them back quickly when those blood pressures start to rise so we can get them back on their daily or twice-a-day blood pressure readings. But I think the answer is patient engagement is critical. Apps like these, what you can do is graduate them to a sort of a non-intervention piece of an app. I mean, this is all part of app development, which I find incredibly fascinating. But you could have just a patient-facing app where a patient can continue to watch their own blood pressure and knows to ping somebody if their blood pressure falls out of control. So again, I think that we have to look at different steps of care across the continuum for these people. Because we can't afford intensive management on everyone.
Right, not forever. And so, yeah, I think that looking to the future to say, how do we get them into a maintenance phase where they're really doing their own self-monitoring because they have enough knowledge and they know when to call.
And I have people doing their own self-management.
Yeah.
Too. They know when to not take a med or double a med.
Doritos.
Yeah. Well, I did have 4th of July. A lot of salt.
Yeah.
That was a good excuse. Okay.
How does the app work? I mean, the blood pressure.
So we have 2 cuffs that we're using: the iHealth cuff and the OnRun cuff. Bluetooth technology with apps is fraught with problems. So we had a lot of people who said they couldn't get it to upload. So we basically, I think for the last 3 months, patients are actually entering their own blood pressures in here, into the app. We're putting almost everyone on the OnRun cuff, and we've done validation studies with all of those, or not we, Vital Labs has. But the problem is the Bluetooth technology is somewhat unreliable to get it into the app always. So we have people, I have one guy that said, I did this for technology, I'm only using the iHealth cuff, and if it doesn't upload, too bad, that's your problem. Fix your technology. I did this for the technology. But other patients are very, very willing to put it in, write their comments. So I think we have to get to the phase where, Mary, you just take your blood pressure and it uploads. My guy with road rage, he has an iHealth and it uploads.
I like to get.
So going along those same lines, we're doing a lit review right now on different devices that will measure blood pressure. And it looks sort of like the state of the art as the cuffs work. The gadgets that are sort of on your phone that are supposed to measure blood pressures don't work a lot. But it seems like there's some in between there. I mean, I love that wrist gadget.
Well, the OnRun is a wrist cuff, right?
But it still has to inflate.
Exactly.
Exactly. So where's the technology in terms of?
So there is a lot of technology out there that is unproven, but I mean, what is it, Rebecca?
You're talking about the one, it's called Savage Beast. those are then put out prematurely, but there is good data that that's going to be something that's figured out. It's actually something that we're working on our own algorithms that can sit on top of that video. And so far it's very compelling. There are some of the intermediate things people are doing so it's not sort of self-enter. There's a company where they basically built this really small app where you just take a picture of your Omron cuff. That data goes directly into the application, which a lot of the patients like. It's just like the experience of I'm buying something online, take a picture of my credit card, and it's automatically uploaded, which is great both for sort of elderly fingers in their face, but we also know people aren't lying or kind of fudging their numbers. It makes sense. Yeah. So there's some intermediate things you can do to ease
Seems
that.
like you keep sending me the same picture.
Yeah.
Day 26 over 74. Day 26.
I had a question on your slides. In terms of the demographics, there was one that you, probably one of the first ones.
Yeah, I think it was the first one.
There was. So under race, you have white Caucasian, 41%. Is there any plans to look at it by ethnicity so you would and see how the Latino would be in planned? Because Latinos, by race, they're fall into white Caucasian.
Right.
But if ethnicity, if you look at it from an ethnicity standpoint, you'd be able to see that breakdown of 41%.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Well, then you could look at it and say, does this work the same on every subset of population?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you also, as Rajni said, we really want to categorize the phenotypes of blood pressure because doing this, you find really interesting things, not weirdos, interesting things. But I think you're absolutely right. Ethnicity is huge in this when you start looking at different interventions and you figuring out what works where. There isn't a one size fits all, and maybe there's something in there. So I think that's a great point that we should take back. We got the people here, so they're taking notes. Yeah, 23. No, don't give me any more of the human genome.
It sounds like it's the work that's in the whole comprehensive team, the physician, the cardiologist, specifically the pharmacist, and the coach. But pharmacists and physician are pretty set. How do you define coach? What do you define coach?
So I would tell you our coaches are non-healthcare providers. They're very much like many of the community health workers out there. The coaches we have for this happen to work for the company, so they're not trained in healthcare, but they're trained to scour data, look for triggers. So it's just like you could train MAs, you could train high school students that are doing summer projects with you. There are a lot of ways we would look at this. My pharmacy students. I have a pharmacy student right now on rotation that peruses my dashboard every Thursday morning to let me know anybody who's looking out of whack or has put a comment in that I've missed. So I think that it's really important that we not define any of this. I mean, much of this can be done by people, to bring people forward that need the care by somebody who is a community health.
How do the providers get compensation for this type of activity?
So we're doing it anyway. I mean, we are all inundated with basket messages from patients, or we just see a blood pressure. We're on the hook for our patient's blood pressure anyway. We just weren't doing it well. So there is no compensation for this. There's no additional compensation, and there never was. But I have to say, we're doing it better, and we're not bringing the patient in as much for blood pressure management. So it's actually when we did, and I think we can do a cost-effective analysis of this, which is the end of their goal. But for cardiologists in particular, your practice becomes sustainable when you bring in new patients who need echoes and $35,000 defibrillators, and you can offload the easy work to. So it's maybe not you're not getting compensated for that particular patient, but the practice overall can be benefit. And I think we should, at some point, take advantage of some of the new Medicare codes. But the advantage of technology here is if you are an individual provider and you want to go out and bill a CCM code, it is very painful to do that. But if this thing could hand it on a silver platter, these are how many times I called the patient, here's all the hours, this is how many minutes I spent, and blah, blah, blah.
under the new chemical model because you're controlling their blood pressure.
Right.
Right, but I'm just focusing on the issue of focusing on fee-for-service model as opposed to kind of looking at it in that way that eventually it'll get you, you know, we still have to prove it yet because I think your point was well taken earlier on, is that, you know, we're seeing these variations in we don't have a hemoglobin A1C for hypertension, you know, essentially, and your point, which is an important one. And so there's still a little bit of science to meet that challenge, but I think we can get there better if we identify, you know, how to really get this data to show that the payment bundles that they do are really going to show improvement in outcomes. So, and it's really interesting because I think I like your birthday story because I think you really need to not rely so much on medication management, but really rely on how do we get people to have every day to be their birthday, because that probably has a more profound effect in the long run, not just to hypertension, but the other comorbidities that really are going to impact the final outcome.
Well, in doing the things that are outside of medication management, like walking or yoga or meditation or, you know, the other things that are really going to help it.
And if we can show it, we can show it.
Or getting employee benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think the idea that health plans should pay for these automated tests and there should be some link back to the treating physician, that's a real good idea.
For $80 is the best, you know, give a test for $80 to $100. That's still less than a level 3 cardiology visit. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
Well,
Give a patient a cup. And I think a lot of them are do you with right patients?
But it's a,
Well, it's
but
less than
Hattie, it's a
25%
pain to prove that they're the right patient, so you're taking your time, your precious time, to prove it's the right patient as opposed to it's a covered benefit.
So I'd like to just ask everybody a question. This interest in home blood pressure monitoring and getting the health plans to pay, or there seems to be consensus over and over and over again that if we can get patients to engage through monitoring their own blood pressure, that we're going to, on a population basis, get better outcomes. So I'm just wondering, if we can just hear some ideas in the room about beyond the hassle factor of what you're talking about, what's another approach to getting, maybe there could be a project in Sacramento to get a large number of home blood pressure cuffs.
well, one of the things that the academicians will know is that you have to prove that it actually works and under what circumstances. So you really have to have a trial. And so what you need to do is not, you need to have a well-designed trial to say, we have a cohort that has, you know, this type of intervention, and we have age, gender, ethnicity match controls, you know, and
That's what we had to do this trial.
And part of the problem this has been looked at in transitions of care patients and heart failure patients, and when you just give them a scale and a blood pressure cuff and a laptop, it never really proved to be effective if you don't marry it with some way that they communicate that data to their doctor or their provider.
and have somebody bird out of it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So I think that, you know, going off and saying we need to buy home blood pressure cuffs for everybody, I think is premature because you've got to make sure that they're going to use them and under what circumstances they're ill. You know,
Do they even know their numbers or what they're
and do
supposed to
they
do?
know how to use it? You know, it's all of those things. And so you have to really design.
So we are at 2 o'clock. We have 2 more questions. Joan has held her hand up. Joan, quickly, and then we'll go. I can't read your name.
It's really not a question, it's a comment. You are where I was 20-some years ago, introducing home glucose monitoring. It's the same scenario, different technique, but it was on and over and over and over again showing that patients who monitored, who bought into the program, not everybody did or does, that they had fewer visits, they spent fewer time. We set up a program tracking ER visits for glucose is out of control, on and on and on. It took time to prove all that and documentation. And finally, the insurances caught on because they would limit it. They would pay for one script a day. Or they would pay for the strip but not the thing to get the blood supply. You know, it was crazy, it drove me nuts. But it eventually smoothed out. So, you know, I would just say stick with it and come up with these concepts. It'll work, and I think you'll be able to have the same fruit and the same outcome.
So I'm going to sit here for the next 15 minutes and have anybody who wants to talk to me about this come on up and we can pursue it further. But Flora had, from California Health and Wellness, had one more comment, and then we're going to give it a wrap. We'll see you back here on the second Monday in August, and we'll have Dr. Alan Fremont from RAND and our San Diego University Best Practices come talk to us about some of the exciting hot spotting work they're doing.
So I think this is a great program, and it's, I believe this is referred, the cardiologists refer to patients to this program. Well, what about, is there a plan to maybe have the family doctor also that, like, especially in our population, most of our members are in rural counties where they can't see a specialist, and so all of their health conditions are being managed by the PCP. Absolutely.
Can I respond to that by saying that in our Los Angeles group, we had a presentation about a cardiology barbershop combination with pharmacists, where they found that if they tested the blood pressure in the beauty shop or barbershop, they actually found that the pharmacist following protocols under collaborative orders was more effective than a referral back, unfortunately, to usual care. So there are a lot of innovative ways to approach this.
And this is really virtual because once somebody has a smartphone and a blood pressure cuff, you know, you can be anywhere and get that information back to whoever is word out and communicate with them. So it makes sense in rural communities, actually, in spades.
The majority of patients are cared for their hypertension in the community, not by cardiologists. So this is,
we just tend to be early adopters.
yeah, and I think that that's the key is how do you just study something, right? So you're absolutely right.
Fantastic presentations.
How's it going?